We've learned enough to know that carbon markets still have a way to go to fully respect our rights as forest protectors. No matter how hard we try to reduce risk throughout the process, some carbon projects might result in problems for our community. But that doesn't mean we're left without options. In this video, we'll discuss what our communities can do when things go wrong. First, be sure to document all interactions. From the beginning, it will be important to keep detailed records of all interactions you have with any people connected to carbon market projects, in case you need to tell your side of the story. This includes meetings, agreements, and any promises made by project developers or government officials. Also, make sure to keep copies of any documents given to you about the project. Project developers often insist on keeping certain details of the contracts, such as how much money from the sales of credits they will take and how much communities will receive, confidential. So keep your own notes on that and don't agree to anything you don't think is fair. Secondly, it's important to speak up. When issues arise, it's important to make sure your voices are heard. You can start by discussing any issues that arise with your representative leaders if you have not already done so. In addition to the regional council or federation your community belongs to, this may also mean reaching out to an allied national organization that may have access to other resources or recommendations for trusted technical and legal allies who can support. What happens if we need to make a formal complaint? If your community or representative organization decides to proceed with a formal complaint, you may want to start by bringing it directly to project developers or to state or national authorities. All project developers are required to have mechanisms to address grievances and provide you with information on how to access it free of cost. You can also reach out to the Validation and Verification Body, or VVB, that is evaluating the project. Although VVBs are urged to communicate with communities within the project area throughout the certification process, we can't assume they will make contact with those who have been negatively impacted. So you might have to be proactive in reaching out to them. And what if that doesn't work? Then it might be time to escalate your complaint. How do we do that? That depends on your context. At the national level, relevant government ministries and other complaints handling bodies, such as an ombudsman's offices or public defenders or prosecutors, should be able to address grievances. At an international level, the standard bodies governing the project should also have their own grievance mechanisms, which would be a next step if your issue isn't resolved by engaging project developers directly. Additionally, their board members or donors may be interested to know about your concerns and the actions you're taking to address them. That all sounds great, but what if that doesn't help? Make a video and post it to your social media, tagging the profiles of authorities, the company representing the project, and other people who can amplify your case. You may also want to communicate your experience to the press, which can bring even more public attention to the issues that are arising and call on the relevant authorities for a response. Remember, it's easy for people to ignore phone calls, emails, and newspaper articles. Sometimes the best strategy involves knocking on people's doors and requesting an in-person audience. Also, international organizations like the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights, UN Special Rapporteurs, or UN treaty bodies all have mechanisms to address reports on rights violations. Formal complaints against standard bodies and project developers can also be made under the OECD guidelines for multinational enterprises on responsible business conduct. Lastly, it's important that we work together. Everyone within our community needs to understand the goal and share the same concerns in order for us to advance any of these strategies. Combining efforts and sharing experiences and information with other communities who are facing similar challenges might be beneficial for both your cases. You're right. When we work together, we are always stronger. Exactly. All of these are strategies worth considering, but appropriate actions will depend on your specific local or national context. We hope these videos have been helpful to you in understanding your rights in the carbon markets. For additional information and resources, please visit rainforestfoundation.org/carbon-markets.